All right, I'm going to interrupt my my last shelf sitter. I got a message from a guy that asked me. He had seen one of my videos about carving these little canister figures, 35 millimeter canister figures. And I'm out in the garage, so you might hear some. As they're cutting saws next door and stuff, so if you do, and you do. And he asked me, he said, Gene, would you do another one? And just, I want to do these figures, and I think they're neat, but would you do another one? And I said, yeah, I'll do another one. But now I happen to know this person, and this person has had some experience with carving, so that's why I'm doing it for him. But this is always the reason I haven't done a lot of these little miniature canister figures. And let me show you. This is a 35 millimeter canister. You don't know what they are, and it just pops off like that. And you can put, if your carving is small enough, you can put it in there, and people open it up and there's that tiny carving in there. And I love doing these figures, but I'm a little hesitant to show people because unless you're an experienced carver, I'm real hesitant about encouraging anyone to make anything this small. Okay? Now I know Jack Price, his characters were 2 inches also, and they were real small, and I say the same thing about Jack's stuff. He's my mentor, my hero. But a word of warning once again, and I know I sound like a broken record, but anytime I show small stuff like this, I know a lot of people get the wrong idea that by being a carver you can carve anything, or being a whittler or anything like that. Well, that's just not true. You can carve, but you need some experience with it. And I tell you, I got birds and saws and everything going on right now. Anyway, and I've got my phone out here, so if it rings, I'm not going to answer it. So, but just listen. This is live, folks. This is the way it is. I don't edit my stuff, and I told you that already. Anyway, before you would do any figure this small and this tiny, because you've got to fit it in this little, and this is only about barely 2 inches. In fact, when you get through it, it's got to be a little less than 2 inches, because so it'll fit in here, and this is only about that, and about 1 inch wide this way. So when I cut the figure, see right here, it's not going to fit in there. I mean, it's not going to fit like that, but it's got to be cut down. But it's only about 1 inch wide is what it is across here, and it's a little less than 2 inches here. And now you have this little indentation here at the top, that if the head is not any thicker than that, well then it'll kind of give you a little bit more leeway, but not a whole lot. So in order for this to work, you do have to cut it way down. Now, these are the rules in doing any kind of figure like this. Now, in my camera work right now, I like to keep my camera a little bit further away. So let me first of all, let me say that that when you start, go to the right side of the video and enlarge it, and it'll put it right up, I mean right on top of it, in other words, that you can see every little cut, everything that I make. That's the way I like to do most videos anyway, carving videos, so you can see them better. Because I don't like to get right up on top of it, because then your hands get in the way and other things get in the way and all that other stuff. So I keep it a little bit further away. Second of all, let me just say that when it comes to YouTube, I think YouTube is a great invention. I'm telling you, I really do. Not just because my format is on it to teach people how to whittle and stuff like that, but you can learn so many things on it. But let's not fool ourselves either, okay? Most of you, like you working on a lawnmower, I've done this myself, or working on something, and you don't quite know how to do it. So you get on YouTube and you look it up and it tells you how to do it, and you go and you do it, and it works, you know, and everything works fine. You save money and you're just happy with yourself and stuff. I mean, I've done that many times, in other words, how to do something necessarily on a car or whatever that's not major, you know. You don't get on YouTube to tear a transmission down, you know. You know, you better know what you're doing at first. So when it comes to things like this, especially whittling or carving or anything like that, it's important. And I'm not trying to sit here and you go, well, I don't want to listen to all this. Well, then just don't listen to it. But I'm just giving you some safety tips here. When it comes to carving, when you get into things this small, you have better learned how to carve before or do something, okay? Because if you don't, you're going to get hurt. And that's my warning to you. You're going to get hurt. Because if you don't know how much pressure to put on the knife and do things like that, you get yourself in trouble with small stuff like this. You really do. So I always warn people, please have some experience with a knife before you ever attempt anything this small. Because you can get yourself, listen, I know you think I talk too much, but I'm trying to save you a trip to the hospital. And I'm not trying to be funny or wise, but it's true. Don't think that all this stuff will not come back on you and everything like that. My brother-in-law's coming in, so you're going to hear that, but just ignore it. So just be very careful in that sense. Now, let's. I'm just going to draw this where the head is. And all this, and like I said, we have to bring this down. Now, yep. Good, got it? Good. All right, now let's see. The second thing is when you are carving something this small, I recommend no blade longer than 1 inch or 1 1/4. Please don't attempt to do one of these figures with a 2-inch blade or something like that. Please don't do that. It's just, you just don't have any control over the knife like that. Now, yeah, okay, somebody said, well, I did one with a 2-inch blade. Okay, all right, well, you know, you win a prize or whatever. But don't be silly, okay? These are knives that I specifically have. This is a 1-inch blade right here on this knife that I made. Made the handle and everything like that. Here's a little 1 1/4 inch knife. I use these for my very small figures. Here's an old Denny knife that I got down to. This is about little over 1 1/4, not much, but don't use any blades that are 1 3/4, 2 inch, and things like that. Now this is the blade I will use. This is my little Ron Wells knife, and it's got about a 1-inch blade on it. Okay, and that's the blade that I'm going to use to carve this little figure. Don't use too long a knife to carve those figures. There's no reason for it. It's not necessary. Stay with a smaller knife so that you can get into. And like I said, with it you'll be able to control the pressure that you can put on. And when you get on these little old feet, people, I'm going to tell you right now, you put too much pressure on those feet, they're going to break. I don't care. you're going to have to be real careful. Okay? So I'll get off my soapbox now, but just trying to save you from some fingers. And if you're having to carve long, please wear a glove and stuff. I know I don't wear a glove, but I've been carving over 30 years, or 30 years or more. And so please just be careful. Okay. I'm gonna go down here to the legs now. This side, this is stuck out. When I cut it, I got a little, I wasn't paying attention like I should have. So we want to bring this out just a little bit like that, and bring this a little bit better to have that. All right, now I go up here once again. You look at your piece and you see how high it is, and you want to bring it down. Okay, let's go ahead, and I've already drawn this, so let's go ahead and cut to get our head ready. And especially when you get into this face, the small detail of the face, you need, see, I'm putting very little pressure, and you have to have a sharp knife as I work with these pieces. In other words, you've got to be careful. And I do, even myself, after carving for so long, I am very careful how much pressure I put on this blade, and the knife is very sharp. So I don't even recommend that beginners or people who have not been carving that long and don't have learned the control of a knife to even do these. I really don't. I think that you need some time. Now, some people disagree with me, and that's fine, but I know how much pressure to put on this piece, and it's very important that you learn that before you get into small stuff. Miniatures are wonderful to do. People love miniatures, but you want to be careful how far you go. Okay, I hope everyone is having a good time. I want to say from the very start, and as you can see, I'm going to the back side here, and I'm slowly getting that head to be shaped up. Before we continue with this, I want to say something again. This is early in April, and Rich Smithson reported that Holly is on her 4th day of chemotherapy treatments. Now, everyone knows, if you are a carver, everyone knows that Rich and Holly, who make Helvey knives, some of the best knives around, that Holly is going through a cancer battle with what started out as rectal cancer, and she's going through that battle right now. And until she gets better, I want to say, please pray for her. And I am going to ask that we can get a prayer chain going for Miss Holly, and she is battling this stuff. And I guess, I know I went through 6 years of watching my wife deal with cancer and take chemo and stuff like that, and it's a very difficult thing for a husband who loves their wives and stuff to deal with it. But it is something we do deal with, and that's the way things are. So anyway, please start a prayer chain for Holly in your churches, in your prayer groups. Our men's prayer group, I've been praying for Holly every Friday. And I mean every night, but I mean every Friday at our men's prayer group. Her name is brought up. So please do. Those of you who love the Lord Jesus, we know that He is the great healer. And listen, I believe in doctors and I believe in all those things, and we should use those things. But in the end, we all know who is the great physician and the great healer, and how she will recover. So we're asking her prayers for Holly and for Rich. I want to tell you, it's just as hard for the person that is watching their loved one go through it as it is for the person who has it. So, all right, look at that. See, we just a little while, we've got the head kind of shaped out a little bit, and of course the body, it's got to be shaped out now. Now, in most cases, I usually just put the hands in the pocket, but let's do something a little different here. On this side, we will put the hands in the pocket, so I'm going to draw that out just like that, in other words. And so we're going to cut, like our cuts, hold on to it tight, don't, because it can sure come out of your hand. You don't want that to happen. Okay. 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 We're just gonna kind of get this, cut a little bit more. Just bring that back, in other words, and cut a little bit more. Okay. And we'll just sort of bring this all down like this. Now this, when you get into this shoe area, you have got to be really careful with how much pressure you put. Do not want to put a lot of pressure and break those feet, and possibly when you break the feet, then the knife comes through it. So you can see how cautious I am when I get onto this small stuff. Please be cautious. All right. The same thing here. It was been reported today that O.J. Simpson passed away, 76 years old. Passed away from complications of prostate cancer. I remember that trial. Boy, do I remember it. That went on for, that was the trial of the century. One time, I don't think people that are not familiar with it just do not understand how big a thing that was. A pro football star who was accused of killing his wife and a young man by the name of Ron Goldman. And who could forget the Bronco chase that went on, and people were standing outside on overpasses saying, you know, free the juice and all that stuff. And I didn't even know they called him Juice. I wasn't a big football fan. I was a baseball fan. But anyway, that all came and turned into a circus. Trial turned into a circus, and O.J. was acquitted. Was found not guilty. now that he's dead. I mean, I said it before. I think the man killed his wife, and I mean, I don't think there was any way possible he didn't. I mean, he was just, you know, it was pretty clear. Just, it was a botched trial of justice is what it was. And okay, now what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and come here and draw a little hand right here, so we get a little bit of a different perspective right here. And then we're going to draw this out like this, and then come up like that. We're gonna make a little hand out here to this. I know it's small, but I'm gonna give him a little. And so I cut down, and then I cut this like this. And so I remember all that stuff very well. I mean, it was very clear, and that he was running from the police, and even had a suicide note. He was going to kill himself, and it was just a very severe travesty of justice. I think the yeah, I think the prosecution messed up and didn't do the right thing in a lot of things. Of course, let me just say this, okay? I'm not a prosecutor, so I have no right to criticize those people. I really don't. So I don't know. It'd be like them getting on here and criticizing my whittling, you know, because I didn't do it a certain way, and yet they've never whittled in their lives. So I just know that this man got away with murder, is what he did. And I mean, it was very obvious that OJ was involved in this, but he got away with it because, you know, if you have a good lawyer and you have a good dream team, is saying people can get away with things. They can. And I will admit too, there are innocent people who don't get away with things and didn't do it. So, but that doesn't, you know, each case is different and each person is different. So, but I remember that was a big trial and a big case. And I mean, this trial, it was the first time I think that all this kind of stuff was televised on TV. And I mean, it was really something. Now, when you get down and do these shoes in here, like I'm gonna kind of cut you have got to be